you can promote your book on the next Authors Helping Authors web show? For more information, text AHA to 202-288-4467. That's 202-288-4467. Calling all authors and publishers. Did you know Everything Authors has a free downloadable directory of platforms you can promote your book on? No longer will you have to search multiple places to market your book because you can find them here. Download your list today at everythingauthors.com/free-resources. That's everythingauthors.com/free-resources. Calling all authors and publishers. Did you know Everything Authors has a free downloadable directory of platforms you can promote your book on? No longer will you have to search multiple places to market your book because you can find them here. Download your list today at everythingauthors.com/free-resources. That's everythingauthors.com/free-resources. Are you an author who wants to promote your books without even saying a word? Visit our apparel collection at everythingauthors.com/shop. That's everythingauthors.com/shop. know you can promote your book on the next Authors Helping Authors web show? For more information, text AHA to 202-288-4467. That's 202-288-4467. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. I'm so excited that you guys have decided to tune into the show today. I'm really excited about our author that's here on the show, Juntu Ahjee. He is going to be talking to us a lot more about his book called Papa's Boy. If this is your first time ever tuning into the show, make sure you go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about our author, Juntu, as well as the show and his book as well. So now the great thing about this show is you don't have to Google anything. All of Juntu's information is listed in that description box. So if you want to purchase his book, make sure you click on that link that's right there next to the $sign, and you will be able to read a lot more about his book as well as purchase the book as well. So now we actually make this show interactive. So you can post your questions and your comments in the comment field, and I can relay those to Juntu. Now, if you're watching from any other page other than Martinique Brown or Everything Authors, I need you to come on over to one of those two pages so that I can relay those questions and comments to Juntu as well. So like I said, don't forget to go ahead and share this video now while we get started with the show. Thank you so much, Juntu, for being on the show.
How you doing, sis?
I'm doing great. So can you tell the viewers just a little bit more about yourself and how long you've been a published author?
Oh, well, I'd started writing as a child, way back in the day. Just little short stories and screenplays. I have basically my background consists more of a screenwriting.
Okay.
But I didn't become a published author until 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Got into it was just something I wanted to try, something different. Being in writing books is a lot more difficult. There's a lot more rules that I was totally oblivious to. I didn't understand and still don't understand. But I love the challenge of writing books. It's a lot of fun. Learning as I go. Definitely making a lot of mistakes. It's cool. It's fun. you know.
Yeah. So now what makes it so much different from screenwriting?
Well, screenwriting, you have a lot more liberties. You can definitely. Well, it's similar in a sense of setting up certain scenarios, scenes,
Mm-hmm.
developing characters. There's a lot of similarities to it, but as far as screenwriting, there's not a lot of editing issues you have to worry about. You you know, pretty much, tell it how it is, and then the
Mm-hmm.
director or whoever's um, whoever's shooting your screenplay rather can put their own, can pretty much fill in the blanks, whatever's missing. So
Okay.
with books, you have to be a lot more meticulous, as far as editing is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand that at first. It's been a little bit of a challenge. My last book, I really learned the hard way. So,
Yeah. And what do you mean when you say you learned the hard way?
well, I put out a book that I edited. Well, I was doing my own editing for one,
Okay.
and most authors are hard headed that way. They feel like they want their book to sound a certain way and look a
Yeah.
certain way, and we have our own lingo. We talk a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Totally politically incorrect. Type of language. Sometimes,
Yeah.
and it doesn't translate very well to the public, unfortunately. And
Mm-hmm.
so I put out. I did my own editing, like I said, and I put that book out, and it got slammed really, really bad.
By
So I
the
had,
readers?
yeah,
Okay.
it got slammed, it got slammed
Uh-huh.
really bad. So I had to pull the book and hire a professional editor. And
Mm-hmm.
what I did was I let a few friends read it first, before I
Okay.
put it back out, and they gave me their take on it and said, "Nah, Juntu, you gotta clean this up. You gotta fix this." And so it didn't hurt my feelings. I was just frustrated, like, okay, all right, cool. So I took it to a professional editor. We got it done. I said, after this, I'm done with it. I'm just gonna put it out. People like it, cool. If not, that's fine. I understand. But it has to. And then another aspect of writing a book is the marketing.
Right.
The promotion. That's a whole entirely different
That's a
animal.
different beast right there.
Woo, man. Tell me about it, sis. It's yeah. So I'm 4 books. Published 4 books as of 2020
Mm-hmm.
last year, and I didn't realize it myself until a friend told me. He's like, "Man, did you hear what you just said, John? Too? You published 4 books in one year.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy, man. Nobody does that."
Yeah. And that's during COVID and stuff.
During COVID, so and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or nothing, but
Mm-hmm.
I was really that focused on what I was doing,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's kind of the gist of me, but as far as my writing history, I got more into poetry, and but in my earlier days, I was doing more literary stuff, like
Okay.
essays and journals and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, storytelling. I love storytelling. It's a lot of fun. It takes you. It's an escape from reality.
Right.
Sure.
It definitely is. And that's the cool thing about books. You just living in this whole other world. And then once that book closed, back to reality.
Back to reality. Sure.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just that just breaks my heart.
Right. So now is Papa's Boys a children's book or is it a book for adults?
I know the book cover is a little it's a little misleading.
Yeah, because when I read that book summary, I was like, what? He used some big words in here. I'm like,
Yeah.
God, this don't sound like no kid's book.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not Dr. Seuss. But it's an adult. It's an adult book, but I think kids can handle it. I think mature, kids, middle school kids, high school kids can handle it. I mean, considering what they see now and what they read nowadays.
Yeah.
It's Papa's Boys is very very. I would say if I was to rate it, I would say like a PG-13 or something. It's not nothing hard, hardcore about it, but it does deal with adult themes like divorce. Um, it deals with child custody and alcoholism. And there is some language in it, and it deals with finding love.
Mhm.
Deals with betrayal, infidelity. A lot of adult themes.
Mhm.
But I try to inject. If I would to describe the book, a word I would describe it. It would be a dramedy. A comedy drama. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
think this. And my brother, bless his heart, he does my book covers for me, and he sent me that book cover, and I was like, this looks like a kid's book.
Uh-huh.
It looks like a kid's book, but
You
I mean, but
fooled me.
I was like, this is gonna throw a lot of people off, but I was
Mhm.
like, what I wanted, he did exactly what I asked him to do. I just I just wanted a picture of a dad and his two sons, the oldest son, plays baseball, and the youngest son, he's carrying on his shoulders, so he drew exactly what I asked him to do, So yeah.
So now, if you're just now tuning into the show, you're tuning into Authors to Know and their books to read. And we're talking to Juntu about his book called Papa's Boys. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put those in the comment field. Give us a virtual shout out. Let us know you are in the house. But with that type of illustration on the book cover, like, why would you take that chance like that? If you knew that it could force people to automatically say, okay, this is a children's book.
Well, I don't know. Part of me was kind of well, I honestly didn't. That's a good question. I honestly didn't really think about it. I didn't think about it that deep. I just kind of
Uh-huh.
thought, well, because I mean, it is about kids. I mean,
But it ain't for kids.
it's not. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't put it in a Disney category for sure. It's definitely
Yeah.
not that. It's not a fantasy or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
And I know, and I've had people ask me that before, and I honestly don't know. I just thought that, because I mean, it does have it is uplifting, to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
It is sad too. It is sad. There's things in it that will make you cry. There's things in it that will make you angry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was an emotional roller coaster writing that book. It really took a lot out of me, sis,
Yeah.
because there were things in it that personal things in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the main character, the main protagonist, Charles Rollins, has a lot of my sensibilities. As a much younger man, very flawed man. He makes a lot of mistakes. He's kind of goofy in a way. But he is devoted to his family. Loves it, adores his sons, his two sons, loves his wife, and like I said, the theme of divorce is hard. It's especially hard on the children.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, I consider when kids have access to these days. That book is tame. It probably is a Disney book to them.
So can you finish walking us through your book? I know that you mentioned Charles Rowland. Is that the name of the dad?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so just walk us through the book.
Okay, so the book is about Charles Rollins, and a man in his mid 30s,
Okay.
blue collar worker. Has been married to his wife for 12 years. Has they have a 12-year-old son and a 9-year-old son,
Mm-hmm.
and his wife, Patricia, is the antagonist. She's the villain. Okay, and she very educated woman, very beautiful. But Charles, unfortunately, I think as happened, it happens in most relationships. People just grow apart, and she's very ambitious. She's highly intelligent. She wants to move as high up the food chain as she can go. And Charles is very content, just being where
Okay.
he's at. He doesn't
Uh-huh.
want he doesn't want to be either. He's not a booty kind of guy, and he's basically living his second childhood through his sons, vicariously through his
Okay.
sons. He's playful and just, just very free, kind of easygoing, free spirit kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very serious. And, without giving away too much of the book, it kind of just makes a bad turn. They end up, going through a divorce, and it just goes from there. But Charles Rollins and Patricia are two of the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
His grandfather, Charles's grandfather, Papa Gus, is another main character who was his mentor, who raised him, his best friend. You know, highly influential. Throughout the course of the story. And then the other main character is Martina, who's becomes Charles's girlfriend. He meets later on in the story. After he goes through a divorce. So he loses his wife, his first love, and then he meets a new love, and then that whole dynamic of the kids having to get used to the new girlfriend, and but along the way, Patricia is very jealous. She wants to break his spirit because he has an unbreakable spirit. He just, whatever happens to him, he just bounces right back. He doesn't stay down very long. So, and she hates that. She's a very miserable person. But the three of the main characters, Charles, Patricia, and Marty, have all had to overcome a certain tragedy in their lives early on as children, and so trying to connect those three, characters together was kind of challenging, But I just try to be honest about it. There's the Papa's Boys, definitely has elements in my life and people that I've known in my, throughout my life, and I just kind of brought all those ideas together and just put them all in one book. So
is Papa's Boys considered as the 12 and 9-year-old son?
Papa's Boys, the title comes from Papa Gus, the grandfather. Okay. So Papa's Boys, meaning that Charles and his two sons are his boys, Papa Gus's boys. That's kind of where I got the title from.
And Marty is Charles's brother?
Marty is Charles's girlfriend that he meets later.
Okay, so they call her Marty and Martina?
Well, Martina, Marty is short for Marty is short for Martina. I'm sorry.
Okay. I was about to think I was in this book, Martinique. That's interesting. So how many months or years is the span of your book?
It spans roughly 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 years.
And you know what? The reason why I asked that question, because I was about to get on Charles. I'm like, Charles, you need to take a break. So you just got done with a divorce and you popping back up in a relationship. You was about to get Charles some therapy. But I'm glad that you said 10 years. That's excellent. That's enough time.
Yeah, it takes, and the underlining theme of it, sis, is hurt people who have been hurt tend to hurt people, people who have been hurt and healed tend to heal people, so that's kind of the underlining theme, I guess. People who are damaged, as children, they grow up and they hurt the people, sometimes the people closest to them. And I think that's relatable. A lot of people can relate to that.
So when we read the book, though, do we get to see and hear the perspective of the kids of how this divorce has affected them?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In fact, these CJ, Charles Jr., and Mason, the 9-year-old, these are highly intelligent kids. They're very self-aware of what's going on with their parents.
Okay.
And very opinionated, in a lot of ways. CJ, the oldest son, is kind of playing dad in a way to his dad. He's always, checking on him and, hey, Dad, did you get your car fixed? Hey, did you pay the bill today, Dad? Did you, when you gonna come pick us up? Don't forget to do this. Don't forget, so he's having to kind of be the surrogate dad for, for his little brother, very important character. And other characters in the book. Charles has a brother, Sky, and he has a couple of friends, his best friends, and they all hang out and do what guys do. They play poker and shoot pool and stuff like that. Uh, but Papa Gus, who appears in the story, I guess, right around the third or fourth chapter. He comes in and tries to basically be there for Charlie, because Charlie's falling apart, after the divorce, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of leaning towards alcohol more than he should, and just kind of going through a depression, and Papa Gus is his anchor. He puts him back. He said, "Nah, son, you get back, get back on get back in check. I can't have you doing this.
Yeah.
Can't have you doing that." It's really about fatherhood, of course, from a Black perspective.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to do a book talking about the things that we go through as fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Many times men suffer in silence, and
Yeah.
we do turn to alcohol and drugs as a way of coping. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not the way to do it. It's good to have a support system. Um, what I like about this book is everyone in the book conveys a certain level of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Which I just wasn't really seeing a lot of. I think there's room for, I mean, as far as like in the Black sector of things, like there's a lot of wonderful authors out there that I've met, young authors, and they're doing their thing. But I just want to see the culture elevate a little more. Let's have some balance. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So now I know that you were, just letting us see how this was affecting Charles, and he was beginning to drink and things like that. But do we ever get to really just hear the hurt verbally for how Charles is feeling? Because, of course, just as a woman, we get to read books about how much a divorce has hurt a woman, but it's not too many times that I hear about reading how hurt the man is in the divorce as well.
Yeah. Yes. You don't really see it until the end, because as true to nature as men, we tend to hold things inside, you
Mhm.
know. And so I kind of held back. I didn't really. Charles is not very expressive about his disdain towards his ex-wife until toward the end. When it gets very serious, and he's having to fight for his sons, and um, But it definitely toward the end you'll understand. It's a bit of a tearjerker.
Mm.
So I had a really hard time, closing that book out. It really, I took a break. I hadn't written anything since.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
took like it really took a lot out of me. There were things that I hadn't really dealt with personally yet that
Mhm.
dormant, that was dormant inside of me.
Yeah.
And so I injected every bit of that into that book. And hopefully, I think I think it's a good read. I think people will understand, and it's not bashing. Um, I don't like to generalize things. I know there's good people and bad people,
Mhm.
men and women. You know, um, I actually try to have a little empathy for Patricia. Even though she's the villain, because that
Dang.
I tried. I tried to have a little empathy for her, because
Uh,
that child, she should have got help. And that a
yeah.
lot of that, and a lot of times in the Black community, we ignore things. When kids are traumatized, we ignore
Mhm.
certain things, and those kids grow up
Yeah.
and they do a lot of damage.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. So now, when we read your book, because I know that you've said this a couple of times, that parts of the book um, is just discussing some things that happened in your life as well. Once we read the book, though, what could we pull from it that actually happened to you?
Um, well, you're gonna make me give away the thing.
But don't give it away. Just be, you can just generalize it, because you said you talked about divorce, you talked about child custody and finding love, infidelity, stuff like that. If we were to read it, would we be able to say, oh man, this is what happened to John too also? Like, is any of that part actually what has happened in your life as well? And which
Yeah,
part?
I guess if I were to sum it up, it would be the the feeling of loss. You know, the feeling of losing someone, um, and never getting them back. Just
Mhm.
the feeling of loss, having something taken away from you, um, untimely. What I mean, just unwillfully, even though you did all, excuse me, you did the very best you could
Mhm.
and gave everything you had, and it just wasn't enough, and
Yeah.
you just that feeling of loss, um, and as far as Charles is concerned, Charles had a very good support system,
Mhm.
which is vital when you're going through certain things like that, going through a divorce or child custody. It's good to have a support system. Having gone to family court myself, that's a
Mhm.
part of the book I can definitely relate to. That's relatable to me.
Mhm.
um, and then just Charles is kind of free spirited, nonchalant kind of attitude. That's definitely me.
Mhm.
Um, well, then it was. I grew up. I got older, and I realized, certain things you just have to you just have to take serious. And but yeah, the feeling of loss, sister. I think that was the hardest part. That was the thing that I just hadn't had closure with yet until I finished this book. You know,
Mm.
yeah.
So now, do you feel that your support system was as strong as Charles, with the personal things that you went through as well?
No, no, I didn't have I didn't have that kind of support system. Unfortunately, I had lost my mother many years ago. She was my support system.
Hmm.
But now, as far as not trying to put my family on blast or nothing, but now when I was going through that, I didn't really have that support system. So,
Hmm.
and I lost. So
So now I know that you just mentioned that you feel like, a couple of the things that you hadn't dealt with yet were dormant, but then when you actually finished the book, you felt like that was closure. Talk to our viewers just about, as a writer, how things can be therapeutic for yourself in completing a writing like that, to help you actually close some things and just have like some, um, an ending to situations that occurred in your life.
ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question, sister. Yeah, I didn't realize at the time that I was doing self therapy with this book. I really honestly didn't know. I just the origin of Papa's Boys started with a short story I did about 2 or 3 years ago called Blindsided, and it eventually evolved into Papa's Boys. I just added more characters and expanded on it, but I didn't know until I got about halfway through the book that these things were still there. I had to really, I had to shut the door and turn the phone off and really pull, really dig deep down inside my soul and ask myself, and hopefully those who have gone through this kind of thing, as far as either a separation with maybe a long-term girlfriend or a divorce or anything like that, having your kids taken away from you for whatever reason, just know that you're not alone, and you have to keep. I think the lesson I learned was to push through it. To keep
Hmm.
going forward. Um, I think I'm a very spiritual person. I pray a lot, and I think God had put this story in my heart for me to put it out. So it can hopefully maybe help others out there, other brothers and men who have gone through this kind of thing. Because like I said, we tend to suffer in silence. We hold things in, and but yeah, for me, I honestly. Did not know at the time until the book was finished. I didn't know, but it was just almost chance. Really, I had no idea what I was doing. I
Mhm.
was just in it, and I just try to swing the bat as hard as I could and knock down a home run, and you know. But yeah, when I finished this book, I cried like a baby. I was just like, wow, it was like it was a healing. It's like something
Mhm.
I had finally been freed from something.
Mhm.
It was weighing on me, for a long time. You know.
I guess my question would also be though, since you say that, how do you know that something is wrong or needs to be, or a wound is still open, if as you're going through the years that it doesn't seem like anything needs to be fixed? Was it like when you were writing, were you saying, were there questions like, why is this making me still angry? Was it questions like that to make you think, okay, maybe there really is not closure on this topic? Because I always thought that when everything in your, like, we have situations that happen in our life, we go through it, let's say years pass, we think everything is fine, nobody else has brought it to our attention that, okay, you've changed, or nothing seems out of the ordinary. But how do you know that something was not fully closed when you was writing this book?
Um, it comes down to being honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, men, we lie. We lie to ourselves and act like, oh, it ain't no big deal. Walking around bleeding,
Okay.
you got an open wound. It's like, man, you're bleeding over there. You might want to fix that. But we tend to lie to ourselves a lot of times. We think that, oh, I'm okay. I'm fine. But
Mm-hmm.
it's that you're not okay. And I think a lot of us do need therapy. Grief therapy or whatever the case may be. You need to do find closure with it. Excuse me. Try to find closure with it as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, because and then too, time does heal wounds. If you give it time. But to just try to shun it off and pretend like it don't hurt and it's not
Mm-hmm.
there, it's just not
Okay.
really fixing the problem.
I
You know,
understand what you're saying now.
yeah, it doesn't fix the problem. So it's best to just deal with it face on and try to get help and find a support system. Even if you don't have one, try to find one. You
Mm-hmm.
know, yeah.
So now, I know that we were able to talk a lot more about Papa's Boys, but you've written multiple books, four in total. And one of the other books that you wrote is called The Legend of Sister Hattie Harris. Can you just tell our viewers just a little bit more about that book?
Yes, Hattie Harris, it's my firstborn. Hattie Harris story. It's part of a 3-part series. I
Okay.
got book 1 and book 2 is out right now in publication. But basically, that was just a homage to some of my elders, women in my family, like my grandmother and my great aunts and people in that generation.
Mm-hmm.
Just basically the struggles that they went through post slavery, pre Jim Crow during that era, 1930s and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and just kind of made it into an action story. Made it like
Okay.
an action, crime, drama kind of driven type story. Uh, I wanted to have a hero, create my own hero, heroine, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like Pam Grier, back in the day,
Yeah.
real tough, beautiful, tough black woman that don't take no mess from nobody. That was my grandmother, I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to reimagine her as a young woman, back in the
Okay.
day. So that's kind of where the character of Hattie Harris came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, is Hattie one person, or I know that you spoke of multiple women in your life, or do their characteristics make up Hattie?
Yes.
Okay.
Caddy is a combination of my mother, my grandmother, my aunts. Just their sensibilities, and things that they would do, their reactions to certain things. Hattie's very very spiritual. but she's also conflicted. She's also very temperamental. She's very tough. But just as graceful and sweet. I mean, she might be in the kitchen making peach cobbler one minute, and then she's gonna pull the gun out the next, and
Yeah.
shoot somebody. So,
Yeah. Do what you got to do, Hattie.
yeah, do what you got. I mean, but those sisters back then, they didn't play. They were like that for real. They didn't play. Everybody know about Big Mama. You didn't mess with Big Mama. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, I'm so thankful to have you on the show. Just so more people can see Black male authors. Can you just tell us what you actually learned about yourself throughout the journey of becoming a published author?
Woo, you answered some good questions.
I try.
You good, sis. What I learned over the last few years about being a Black published author was it's difficult. It's very difficult. There's not a lot of there's a big lane out there for us though. I'm steady evolving. I'm seeing opportunities. I see a lot of opportunities out there for us, Black authors, male and female. But one of the things that I'm learning is just not be afraid to take chances and to grow. Try new things. Like Papa's Boys, for example, is a complete departure from the Hattie Harris books. Just two entirely different genres, y'all all together. So I think that's one of the things that I'm learning. 52, which I guess is not too old. I'm still growing as an author. But yeah, I just kind of want to see some balance back into the culture. It's got a little bit too much of this. I just kind of want to inject some intelligence in there, and some family values, and some more comedy. We need to laugh more. We don't laugh enough. Everything is dramacidal. Seems like.
So I know that you mentioned that it was difficult. What did you find difficult though about the process?
Just the transition of going from screenwriting to actually writing a book.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, there's certain rules to the game that I just didn't understand fully. That I had to practice, I guess, for lack of a better word. I guess difficult in a way, understanding your audience, the people that you're trying to reach. I try to, I don't like stereotypes. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to evolve myself as a person. I'm trying to evolve in my writing as well.
Yeah.
Not to sound too bougie. I mean, because I'm still laid back. I'm still me, but I just I'm still trying to find an audience, and that's difficult. That's very difficult. But I was amazed though with the Hattie Harris books. I had to change the subject too much, but a lot of white readers really gravitated to that book. I was like,
wow,
really? A lot of I was like, wow, okay, they showed a tremendous amount of interest. I thought it would be the other way around. But it's just you never know.
Yeah.
And I also have a poetry book, Ebonology, that a lot of people like. Now that's something definitely for the kids. They can read that for sure. So
Okay. That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, again, I thank you so much for being on the show and talking to us a lot more about Papa's Boys. If you're interested in purchasing Juntu's book, make sure you go to that description box, because right there next to the $ is the purchasing link. Once you click on that link, then you will actually be able to read the book summary of Papa's Boys as well. Another great thing about the description box is it has Juntu's contact information there as well. One of the great things about authors is they never stop at one book, and Juntu's case, he has 4 books. It's going to be a 5th book. So make sure you follow him on social media so that you can always stay in the loop when he does book tours, as well as release new projects as well as new books as well. We definitely thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. And we hope that you guys have a great night. We will talk to you all later.